Wow. What do you think, David? It's a whole new week.
Oh boy.
You know, the Democrats have been excited for months. They've been salivating as they hired an ABC producer to host what they call the January 6th hearings. You know, it's kind of like a bunch of sick, deranged lunatics on the extreme side, so happy and proud that they get to villainize the one person they haven't been able to do anything against, and that is the former president, Donald Trump. They're embracing this so much that there was just so many villains of this act that, they can't stop talking about it. But you know what the irony is that they're talking about something which is, again, more about nothing at the end of the day, but they don't talk about the roughly nearly $2 billion of looting and damage between May 26th and June 8th. But they're spending tens of millions of dollars producing the January 6th, you know, hearings. David, I know you got a lot to say on this one,
Yeah.
but
Well,
but but it's just really a sad day on Emancipation Day here in the United States that was also long overdue. Not many people know about the holiday. What is it a holiday? What is a holiday for? Who should celebrate it? Who shouldn't? But Cheney, the Republican lead on this committee, who, let's face it, is so anti-Trump, it's ridiculous. You know, I think actually some of her statements may actually put her in conflict of representing anyone on the Republican side. But David, I'm going to shut up and let you talk for a
well,
minute.
look, you know what, sir? Let's talk about why this is a big failure. And the interesting thing is that it's amazing how the Democrats have, and people talk about how politicians have they don't understand how real people live. And I think that when times are good and people aren't really paying attention, you could do and almost say whatever you want. But Stuart, in the last 2+ years, we've dealt with a pandemic and now an economic shit show that is really causing people probably as much or more personal harm. And I mean, you think about it, and I had a conversation with my wife this morning about this in the car this morning. It's how much more our food costs are today, how much gas is more expensive, how once upon a time a dollar bought more. And if you went to a dollar store, by the way, you're not paying a dollar anymore for anything. It's way, way, way higher. And so right now, instead of focusing, and the Democrats are, again, clap and clap and clap to the Democrats and the liberal media, because instead of focusing on what Americans, Canadians, and the world need, which is a solution to putting food on the table, like you said, Stuart, let's go spend millions of unnecessary dollars to try to get reelected. Now, this is how far the Dems went. Last Monday, when they started this show, it went prime time. Why would you put hearings, Stuart, at prime time if you don't want to create some sort of publicity stunt? Because these hearings are never at prime time. But the Dems wanted, and the liberal media wanted their goal: embarrass Donald Trump, expose MAGA supporters, harass the Republican Party, and get reelected in the fall. I mean, Hillary Clinton last week so much has said that. You hear people, I mean, the Joy Behars of this world don't want to hear anything other than the Democrats need to get reelected, because the Republicans, you hear statements like it is the end of democracy. I heard it again this morning that these hearings are all about preservation of our democracy. What are you guys smoking? Like, really? The democracy? Okay, what happened was stupid, was horrible. I get it. The end of democracy? I mean, like, this is why people are not paying attention anymore. If you look at what's going on, are the ratings for the hearings any good? No. Are people listening? No. They came out with a study over the weekend that 35 and under are not paying attention to the news because they can't trust it because of stupid shit like this. And instead, what do liberal media do? Well, you notice that Fox News is not broadcasting it because they don't believe that the January 6th hearings really matter. Like, what kind of crap is that? Okay, Stuart, what say you in this case?
David, it's very rare that I'm totally in synonymous point of view with you. Dude, it is ridiculous. Listen, what happened on January 6th? Yes, it wasn't right. I agree. Like so many other things aren't right in the world. Okay? So many bad things are done. Hey, the Biden laptops, that's bad. Biden falling off a bike, that's pretty stupid. You know, Hillary Clinton's servers that are bleach bashed, that's ridiculous. Obama telling Putin, don't worry, I'll have total control and you'll be able to do it next time. You know, there's so many villains in DC. You know, the swamp is full. And you know what? It's the laid back Republicans that actually, I'm going to give them the blame game today because those that are armchair Republicans are just the ones that are causing it. Let's not give them the time of day. Who really cares? Let them have their stupid thing. The population knows it's stupid. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, David, I got to tell you, in my life, I've seen a lot of dumb shit, but these Democrats have taken it to a whole new level, and it looks like we lost you. David went MIA. So back to what I'm going to say is that if we're going to continue on about these January 6th hearing to try and further divide the country after we have healed so much from all this nonsense, I got to tell you, it becomes a time where enough's enough. When will the people come together and join in unity? President Biden said he was a unifier. Man, the guy's more divisive than any other president in history. The guy doesn't want, I tell you, we want to join together. We want to merge. We want to be close. The guy does absolutely nothing to do that. And I don't know why. Why does the president of the United States refuse? Are you there? There. Oh, there you are. I don't hear a word you're saying, David. Now you're mute. It's okay. I've been talking to myself for the last 5 minutes. People are bored. I'm rambling. Nope, David, still don't hear you. Yep, we lost the volume on you, David. But as we get into further this broadcast, so the president is the divider in chief. And I got to tell you, his party has to have 150 people manage his comments because all he wants to do is be divisive. You hear me, David?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back on. Technical
All right.
difficulties resolved. All right,
My
David,
apologies.
talk.
You know what, Stuart? I got to tell you, one of the things that I can't understand, and again, even in Canada, like you watch the news in Canada, it's like these January 6th hearings are so critical. And Canadians, we're paying now north of $2. Like we're paying more than Californians are for gas. And people are
But,
like, who cares?
but
You know,
David, I talked to people January 6th versus the price of gas, January 6th versus the price of groceries. We talked on Friday about the economy, about the
yep,
shrink of the packages,
yep,
26 grams to 19 grams. I mean, it's
yeah, but
shrinkflation.
Stuart,
It's
the
ridiculous.
people don't want. But this is it. It's like when you hear that the government
Hired a
is
Hollywood producer.
Hollywood. Well, you know what? No, but when you look at somebody like you mentioned Liz Cheney, and Liz Cheney was interviewed on CBS Sunday Morning. It's as left-leaning a liberal TV show as you can. They bashed Trump for every minute that they could, and they enjoyed lambasting Trump yet again on this show. You watch and you listen to the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Joy Behars in this world and whatever, and all they want to do is bash Trump. But they don't want to focus on what Americans and Canadians and people want to hear. And that is, how are you going to bring down my cost of living? How are you going to make sure? Because interest rates, we talked about last week, interest rates shot up last week, 3/4 of a point. And yet, what are we hearing? January 6th. And you know what? Those Democrats and the opportunistic Liz Cheney, who's sitting there, by the way, if you look at right her, she's to the right of the chairperson. And when you're to the right of the chairperson, that's a position of power. Right? The further away you are from the center, the less power you have on it. So she's there, and the Democrats have put her there on purpose to show, look, even the Republicans are disgusted, and to bring in Pence and Ivanka Trump and whatever, and to frame this as the most critical problem in the United States today, in the world today, in the thank you, Jennifer. She's the vice chair. This is opportunism at its best.
Listen, this woman wants to run for president of the United States,
Yeah, good for her.
and she's from Wyoming. She practiced law at White and Case. She, is international finance. She's a national security and foreign policy girl. At the end of the day, along with her father, who was Dick Cheney,
Yeah,
Dick, the Democrats blamed her father every fucking day of the week. It was Dick and Bush. The
everybody,
Dick and Bush.
everyone. Republicans are
Look,
blamed for everything, Stuart. Conservatism is bad. We know already.
I'm tired of it. I'm
But
tired of it.
Stuart, but this is what amazes me. And this is where, when you hear statements like cut the cable cord, right? Why are people cutting the cord? It's because they're tired. They're tired of this bashing. Like, this isn't reality. There's no reality when you're sitting at home and your paycheck isn't driving your, enough to put a food on the table for an average family, and you're hearing that the government is spending millions of dollars investigating something that people are like, guys, get over it. Get over it.
I just want to know, out of the $2 billion of damage in Oregon, how many dollars went in on recouping that loss? How
Well,
many arrests? How
Stuart,
many
Stuart,
charges? I
Stuart,
mean,
Stuart, there's an Stuart, COVID is still in the United States. You have an immigration problem. You have other major problems that affect people's day-to-day lives. It's like I said at the beginning, when the economy is good and when people can put food on the table and feel good, they don't care. But now they do. Now they're sitting here and really, what are they saying? Enough. And Jennifer, you're writing, do Republicans have the right to complain about the hearings if they don't want to add any from their side of the panel? That's not really, Jennifer, let me put it this way. The Republicans were invited, and the Republicans said no, because we don't want to spend time on this. This is a waste of time. There is nothing to
well,
gain from it.
there,
What are
there
we
are
going to?
Americans that are starving, and those Americans that are starving are more important
You know
than.
what? Where's the Build Back America? This whole plan of $4 trillion that failed. Okay, every program, you said it. Biden's been on the wrong side of history. Here we are again. Instead
But
of
that's for
Biden
40
saying,
years. For 40 years, the
but I'm
guy's been on
saying
the
now,
wrong side of history.
Biden, all you hear right now is, with his new press secretary, especially, she's been answering, is Biden going to run again in 2024? And instead of like, you know,
I got a funny one, David. You asked a question: is Biden going to run? Well, we know he can't ride a bike.
let's leave it at that. But the thing is that if the only thing that matters is if Biden will run in 2 years plus, then folks, this is why people don't trust media. This is the wrong question. The wrong question. The right question is, what is the government going to do other than blaming gas companies and other than blaming others for the malaise that we're dealing with? Let's
I
go
want
have
I want a
hearings.
picture. I want a picture. I want MBS. I want a picture of Biden kissing MBS's ring.
Anyways, On that note,
I'd almost pay money for that.
ladies and gentlemen, we want to wish you a wonderful week. We will catch you on Wednesday. Have a good one, everyone. Cheers.